Today we're going to tell you the story of how I ended up with this red Porsche 911 Turbo S for under 50 grand US dollars. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Life of Drive. First, we're going to talk about why I bought this car. When I was a kid, I'd go with my dad to the truck stop every Saturday over at where all his trucks were, and he would always stop at the gas station along the way so that I could get an Auto Trader. Now, I can't remember if Auto Traders were free or you had to pay something for them. I think they're free. So we'd stop in the gas station, he'd fill up whatever we were driving, and I would get an Auto Trader, and that would kind of set me for the day without bugging him to leave too early or too often. So we would get going, whatever we had to do that day on the trucks, and I would sit there and I'd flip through Auto Trader, and I loved looking at all the cars and what they were worth and dreaming about one day buying one for myself. I must have been, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. And I was obsessed with Porsches. I always wanted a Porsche, and I always wanted my dad to buy a Porsche. So I was always flipping through the Auto Trader looking for Porsches and the deals that they had. And this particular Saturday, I had found one for a pretty good deal in Etobicoke, and I begged my dad to go see it. He had to buy it, and he said, "All right, we'll think about it. Maybe next weekend we'll go take a look." So all week long, I hounded him about this car, and the next Saturday he went, and we went to the dealership, and he looked at it, and I was in heaven. It was a 1980, and I can't remember, 80 something Porsche 911 Turbo. Is red. It's the 930 style wide body, and I was obsessed with the wide bodies, and it was red. And I remember he said, "Okay, we're gonna do this," and he bought that. That week he bought that car, he brought it home, and I was obsessed with that car. I got him to drive it every day. I could get him to drive me to school. I'd get him driving me to school, pick me up from school, go for rides, go for cruise. And we lived on this country property with a big long driveway, and he'd let me drive it up and down the driveway. Eventually he ended up selling it, which was a horrible mistake because those 930 turbos are worth a lot of money right now, but hindsight, whatever, you know. So he sold it, and but ever since then I was obsessed with Porsche 911 turbos, and I wanted a Porsche 911 turbo. Over the last couple months, I've been doing some research. I watched way too many VinWiki YouTube videos, and they're talking about the best cars under 65 grand because of the new Corvette that's out. And a couple of the guys that they had asked about it were saying that the 996 Turbo with the X50 package is for under 65 grand. You're getting a heck of a car. And I'll do more research because I'm just kind of getting back into the car game and thinking about buying cars and stuff. And every other kind of 911 Turbo, whether it's a 964 or a 993 or a 997, are all worth over 100 grand. But the 996 is, because of the headlights and the way it looks, and it's just kind of the ugly red-headed stepchild of the Porsche family, are worth a lot less. And they've kind of hit rock bottom on their value, which is kind of good if you're looking for a car that's not going to depreciate anymore. And so I've been looking at 996 turbos, and I've been looking all over the country and made some inquiries in BC and Quebec. I found one in Quebec with the X50 package. I was really looking to go that way. So I took my VinWiki skills that I learned on there, and I wanted to build up a relationship with my local financing company, and I contacted FAF, and I told them that, you know, I want to see what I can qualify for. I want to buy a 911 Turbo, and the guys there were great, and we were going through this process. And while they're going through this process, I have a sign-in on Bring a Trailer, and if you know anything about cars, you've been on bringatrailer.com, and there's auctions, and every morning I get that email. And we're in Canada, so most of the cars are based in the US, most of the buyers are based in the US, and this particular morning, 2005 996 Turbo pops up. It's Turbo S. And I didn't know like what that meant exactly. I knew what Turbo S's were as far as an Turbo S, but I didn't know what Turbo S meant exactly with the 996 models. And it's the first time that I had looked at it. So I started reading on Bring a Trailer. I started reading the description and all the pictures, and I started reading the comments. And it turns out that the 996 Turbo S's, and this is the 2005 model, which is the last year they made the 996 Turbo S, they are a rare car. There's only 600 of them in the whole world. There's only a certain amount in North America, and they're even more rare in this red that this car is. There's only 12 in North America and only 2 in Canada. So now it's getting more interesting. The cars are pretty depreciated already. Plus, whenever there's a car that there are less numbers of, they become more valuable. And on top of that, nobody's really bidding high on this car. The day that I looked at this car is the last day of the auction. So I said, what the heck, I'm gonna throw up a bid. I threw up $250 more than the $30,000 US dollars that somebody had bid on it. And I just kind of researching throughout the day, kind of seeing where cars are going for in the US. I couldn't find any Turbo S's in Canada for sale. But the reason why I'm bidding also is because this car is actually in Canada. It's like 30 minutes from where I live. I don't have to pay duties. I don't have to pay anything to get it here. I don't even have to pay for somebody to come and pick it up, because I'll go pick it up myself. Day goes on, and these auctions really never take off till the last 10 to 2 minutes anyways. I have to coach a class. My class time is starting at the exact same time that this auction ends. And so I'm telling my wife, like, you gotta start the class. I need to see what happens with this bid. So some bids start rolling in, and it gets bid up. But I'm like, this is still really low. I'm putting my hat in on this, and I'm gonna make another bid. I make another bid. Couple guys, there's about 3 of us in on it. One guy stops bidding. Another guy, me and him are going back like $250 at a time. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Whatever, it's not meant to be. You know, I've been praying about this car, to be honest with you, for 2 weeks prior to this, just about making a good decision and finding the right car. And I'm like, you know what, this guy clearly wants it more than I do. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay for this car if I win. I've never even been on an auction site before, so I have no idea what I'm really doing. But I was like, whatever, okay, I'm done. So the 2 minutes, the way that Bring a Trailer works is if somebody puts in a new bid at the end, before the end of the bid, there's a 2 minutes added on so people can continue to bid and raise the price of the car. Well, I see after I said, forget it, it goes down to 1 minute, it goes down to 30 seconds. And I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna get this car at this amount. So quickly, I'm like on my phone, I put in another $250 bid. Another 2 minutes comes on the clock, and it's counting down. It is the longest 2 minutes of my life. At 1 minute, I'm counting down 60 seconds by the half of a second at that point. And then at 30 seconds, I'm like, oh crap, I just won this car. I'm gonna win this car. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this car. I don't have financing. I don't have the cash in the bank to buy it. So what am I gonna do? And it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Radix Dan, you just won yourself a 911 Turbo. I won a 911 Turbo. I'm freaking out. I have goosebumps. My mind is going in circles. I want a car. How do I pay for the car? Who cares? You won the car. And these are the things that are going on in my mind. I have to walk up and down my street while my wife coaches the class. I'm calling my dad. I want a car. He's like, what do you mean you want a car? I'm like, I need to figure out how to pay for this. He's like, yeah, you better figure out how to pay for it, because Bring a Trailer automatically takes their percentage off of your credit card right away. So that happened instantly. I would lose that money if I didn't figure out how to win this car. Turns out, and this is why I feel like my prayers have been answered, turns out this car is actually owned by a person who works for FAF Reserve. FAF is a huge company in Canada, and they have dealerships, and they have the financing company that finances the cars. They have Porsche dealerships, they have McLaren, they have all kinds of exotic cars. And it turns out that the branding manager for FAF Reserve is the owner of this car, and he knows the guy that I've been trying to get the financing through, and they can work out a deal for me. Whoa, how unbelievable is that? It just kind of all ended up in my lap over a couple of really ridiculous decisions that I made in the heat of the moment. and then it happened. I bought the car for $46,250 US, which is a rare 911 turbo in a rare color. It also, he did some tasteful stuff. There's coilovers, a little tune, and a Tech Art exhaust, which puts it around 500 horsepower. Because the Turbo S's came with the X50 package already, it had 450 horsepower out of the factory, and then with the tune and everything, we're over 500 horsepower. This thing is ridiculous fast. And I picked up the car last week, and I've been driving it around, and this car is unbelievable. For any of you Porsche guys out there who hate the 996 because of the headlights, I don't even know what to tell you. This car is unbelievably fast. It handles so well. It is everything a 911 is and should be, and I got it for under $50,000 US dollars. In Canada, that came out to $64,800, right around the budget I was looking to spend, and way more of a car I got for it. That is the story of how a little boy who watched his dad buy a red 911 turbo, not that old, 28 years later, buys himself his first Porsche. It's a Porsche 911 turbo. It's red. It's a Turbo S. And I got it all for under $50,000, and I don't think it gets any better than that. It doesn't have a lot of miles on it. It's got all the cool stuff like ceramic brakes and big turbochargers. So I hope you enjoyed that story from Life of Drive. If you guys are enjoying what we're doing here and the cars we're profiling and all the crazy stuff that's going to happen, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. We're going to have some really cool stuff coming your way. And thank you for listening to how I bought my first Porsche 911 Turbo.